So just to recap what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow's trading session. And tomorrow is going to be the big day, right? Tomorrow is the US election, but not just the US election. We also have RBA overnight expecting for the interest rate to remain the same in Australia, even though the last CPI it was actually better than expected. But for now, remain the same, and then we'll see what's going to happen in the future. We're going to have a few data being released across Europe. We have services PMI as well in the US at 3 p.m. But of course, the big event is going to be the US election. I'm not expecting crazy moves straight away during the London session, not even maybe the US Open. I'm expecting more towards the evening, all right? And then, of course, the crazy moves I'm expecting more overnight from Tuesday to Wednesday. That's when I'm expecting a big volatility, spikes all over the place, until eventually start getting some results coming in and to see who's actually leading and getting closer to become the next president in the United States. In addition to that, then you're going to even have Bank of England and the FOMC meeting on Thursday. Now, looking at the market, like we open once again with a big gap. I'm not sure if it was anything related to the US election or if it was again some news related to the conflict in the Middle East. The reality is that we saw another big gap over the weekend in the market. So we had the push downside on the dollar. It did manage to break new low in here, reacting now from this demand zone. I think this starts opening a little bit more room to downside, and I'm looking for dollar index to get a little bit closer to these lows eventually, especially if we do manage to break below that level. If that happens, I'm expecting price to fill this range, but before that, perhaps we can go and make this last move to the upside, react from this highs before moving there, or we can even fake out this structure in here and then move to downside. Like it's basically the same thing that we have been waiting for at this point on dollar index, and then eventually we can challenge and go a little bit more to the upside, a little bit closer to those levels. When you are looking at dollar index and then reversing into the euro dollar, we mentioned yesterday that high that was created on Friday, it looked like more an engulf to the upside. I was still looking for more upwards move on the euro, and I still think that euro dollar wants to fill that range a little bit more to the upside, which may take actually some bearish moves on the dollar index. But the reality is that now we made this move with a gap, so we have a gap to fill, and maybe that's what price is about to do tomorrow. All right, so let's see if price actually closes this gap. A little bit similar also on the pound dollar, can have a little bit more of a room to downside. I would like to see actually these highs as well being taken, with price getting closer to this high in here, to this supply level. And then euro pound now it's in a range as expected. And then another one that we're going to pay attention to, of course, is the Aussie dollar and the Aussie pairs. The bigger move is going to happen overnight, but perhaps we may have an opportunity around the London Open to look for a trade. I think Aussie dollar is getting closer to a bigger reversal to the upside, but we may have a retest to the lows before we actually go higher, or can even fake out the lows before we do that. For now, maybe the only space that is going to fill is the gap, and then maybe a move to the upside. We'll see what's going to happen. New Zealand, I also like the idea of looking for longs. Euro Aussie, it looks like in a good shape to look for shorts as well, as price is already reacting from that high on the left side. Moving along, then we start looking at the yen pairs. So the yen index is within this range. Eventually could fill all this space in there, and the question mark for me is, are we going to make one last low, perhaps react from this demand zone within these lows and move to the upside, or we're going to fake out all these lows, getting into that zone and potentially move to the upside? Like those are two levels that I'm going to be looking for longs in here on the yen index, which is basically the opposite, looking eventually for short on the euro yen, dollar yen, pound yen, and so on. Right, so again, dollar yen just fill this range as well, so we'll see now if it breaks the downside, start opening the door for price to go further down, or if it now is going to retest the highs again. Euro yen, I would like to see it a little bit more of a move to the upside as well. A pound yen as well, I think it could go slightly higher before looking for shorts. Dollar CAD and the CAD pairs. So CAD reacted really nicely from that double top from this high all the way back in the past, and now with the gap move to the downside. Like, so we'll see there's maybe a good opportunity to start looking for, or potentially look for shorts close on the retest or the close of this gap, but I actually would like to see even price breaking out these highs and then yes, making a move to the downside. EuroCAD is also approaching a good level, which I would still like to see EuroCAD breaking these highs before actually making a move to the downside, and that can actually provide a great opportunity to look for shorts. Dollar franc Swiss, this is exactly the move that I've been waiting for more than a week or almost 2 weeks, and price reacted from there on Friday, and then all of a sudden it opened with a gap all the way, reaching the initial targets that I was looking for. At least it managed to break a low, so if we do actually retest back to the highs, I'm going to be looking again for shorts at around that level. It depends, of course, on the way that price is going to approach the highs. I'm going to be looking for it. I have my alerts. I'm going to be looking for shorts as well on dollar franc Swiss eventually when price comes back to that level. Gold and silver, they are just ranging a little bit, with showing a little bit more of a bearish move, so we'll see. I'm expecting new lows, and then eventually We'll see if we're going to have a little bit more of bullishness again. And in terms of oil, it finally reached a target. Like last week, we were looking for price to fill the gap. It took 1 or 2 days until it started to move in that direction. And now finally it reached a target. And now we have a new gap that price may wants to fill again. So this can be a good opportunity potentially to look for shorts just to close the gap created yesterday. And after that, we'll see which direction price actually wants to move from here. Right? Again, we are playing zone by zone. Price reached a target that we've been looking for since last week. For now, immediately, we are looking for price potentially to fill the gap again tomorrow. So which means that looking for shorts. And of course, US indices, right? So the US indices, what we are looking for, we have S&P, Nasdaq, and the Dow basically trading within a range. Dow actually broke an important structure, which may actually open the door a little bit to downside. But at this point, I would prefer to see one extra wall being broken in order for price actually to open doors to go further down. Otherwise, price may actually respect the structures where it is right now and move to the upside. You can see that on Nasdaq. You can see that as well a little bit on the S&P and also a little bit on the Dow. DAX is basically the same thing. Like, so again, last week we filled the range. Now price is reacting to the upside and we'll see what's going to happen here. Respects the level, goes higher or it starts breaking and it starts opening door to downside. And of course, we can also look at crypto and Bitcoin and Ethereum in particular, where Bitcoin can actually be at a good level to potentially look for longs where we are right now. And of course, one of the ways perhaps to try to see who's actually going to win the US election is by looking at Bitcoin, because if Trump actually wins, most likely we are going to see a big move to the upside on Bitcoin and also on Ethereum. So again, they are at good levels. We're testing lows at support levels in here. So let's see what's going to happen as well. Again, with that being said, guys, if you are new, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you are getting value as well, subscribe, like the video, and let me know in the comments who do you think is going to win the US election and which direction do you think that price is going to move after the election. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Obrigado.